welcome to the Everyday Romantic. I'm Tammy Gibbs, and today we are going to be exploring what you can do before your significant other, your husband, your wife, your partner, before they get home. Small preparations can make an ordinary evening feel very thoughtful, and it doesn't have to be elaborate to feel loving. So romance can begin before they even walk through the door. Thoughtfulness starts before the evening officially begins. You can leave a little note that says, "Welcome home. I'm so glad you're here." It can be just that simple, just something that they're not expecting. Anticipation is part of the romance. So notice what would make tonight easier. You can do this like the night before. You can be kind of just brainstorming, and you want to start with what your partner may need most. And a lot of times you can get signals all through the day if they're having a rough day, or if they've had an unusually busy day. If they've got something weighing heavy on their mind, then you can do something a little bit special just to kind of interrupt the normalness of the day and make it special. So the best gesture always begins with you just paying attention to the needs. All right, so here is a really simple way, and I promise you it would go a long way towards making them feel loved and special, and it's not going to cause you a whole lot of grief or stress or pressure. It's something very simple. All the way. Okay, so my husband, when he comes in, most of the time he goes and changes clothes or whatever. And, he kind of has this little wind down routine. So, but he eventually ends up in his recliner. And so, whether it's a recliner or a special chair, it's the couch, wherever it is that they typically are going to land, you can simply set up like a little thoughtful little place. So you can take and turn an ordinary chair into a personal experience. You could say you control the programming tonight and give them the remote control. You could have a snack ready, their favorite beverage. If they're going to be a little while, you could do a little some ice in a little bucket or something, and then put a can of soda. You could put, a bottled soda or whatever their favorite beverage is in that ice in the little container. A lot of us don't have ice buckets anymore, but you could kind of convert a pretty ceramic bowl or something. You can look around and find something to put a little bit of ice in there to chill it. And you could do their favorite snack, whether that's popcorn or whatever. If it's right before supper, you may want to do something like a little appetizer kind of thing prior to your dinner or supper or whatever you call it, your evening meal. And so you could do like a little bowl of dip and some chips, or some salsa and some chips, or something like that. So lots of little ways, but probably the most special thing would be a little note. And this could always say, I love you. You always want to add a little something to it. Okay. Here's another idea. So you could do the chair. You don't want to do these all at one time. Sprinkle them. Sprinkle them across your days. And, like I said, the Everyday Romantic, the Date Your Spouse Again playbook has lots of ideas on how to make things a little more special. And so it's just chock full of little ideas. So anyway, so you can prepare the invitation, but you don't want to go ahead and draw the bath because they may be delayed and that sort of thing. And that's just taking it a little bit too far. They might want to do something else before they do this. But one of the really neat things you can do is to go ahead and prep the space, like put some pretty towels out. You can tie them up with a pretty bow. Something like you would see if you went to a very luxurious hotel. Lay out their cozy robe, put some bath soak. For the men, if you're a lady and you're doing this for your spouse, and he's going to take a shower, you could still lay out the towels, and you could put out a fresh bar of soap. You could still, put out a candle or even one of the little LED flicker, the flameless ones, right out with everything in the bathroom. And then the note is the special thing. You could put out some, nice men's shampoo or, all the little details. But like I said, just laying out the towel and having like a cozy robe they could, put on. Those are the things that when they walk in that bathroom, you could even put a sticky note up on the mirror to go along with it, as far as your note. But it's just like the surprise of walking into the bathroom when you're already going to go there and take a shower anyway, and then seeing that the person that loves you has put something out for you already. So just all of these are just really cool little low or no cost ideas. Okay, so you can also help them leave the day behind by a gentle transition. So if they, are in work clothes and they're going to change anyway, you could lay out some comfy, kind of lounging clothes for them, and then put a little note that says leave the day here. Your comfortable evening starts now, with some slippers or whatever. Just put it in the bedroom or wherever they normally would go to put the clothes on. Sometimes romance is just helping someone unwind for the day. Okay, so take one thing off their list. Acts of service can feel deeply romantic. So you can leave a little note that just says, you can cross this one off your list. I took care of it. And that would be a lot of different things that you could do. Make an everyday favorite feel personal. A familiar treat can feel special when it's offered with intention. So, just having a tray of like maybe a warm cookie that you baked some cookies if you think that they have a favorite cookie, and then serving it with a cup of coffee or whatever. I mean, literally you could do this and surprise them with it anytime. Already have it all ready for them. It's all about the presentation. Okay, so tonight you choose. So there are a couple of different things that you can do here. You can give them three choices, like watch something together, sit outside and talk, take a walk. A little choice can remove a lot of decision stress. So if you want to do something special, you just give them the option. Say, okay, which would you like to do? Because a lot of times if we sit there and we wait on the other person to say, let's do this, and we don't proactively ask, and a lot of times if you say, and I do this a lot, we do this a lot, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Okay, so the reality is that we probably should have a deck of things that have different ideas of things we can do, because it's about as hard to make that decision as it is to decide, where do we want to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to eat? What do you feel like? I don't know. What do you feel like? I mean, everybody does it. Or if not, tell me in the comments that you don't do this. That this has never been a conversation you've had. So a little choice can remove a lot of the decision stress. And, okay, so this is also something really cool you can do. You can actually pull out either a single image, a single picture, like remember this day, I'd still choose you. That's just something neat. You could put it anywhere. You could put it on the dresser where they normally drop their keys and their wallet, or their purse, by the door where they drop their purse. You can also lay out in like a wedding album or your honeymoon album, or, just an album from when you were dating, and just lay it out. And that can be the whole thing, just going to a little trip down memory lane. Okay, so just like we've said before, a few words in the right place, one little small note can change the feeling of an entire evening. And a lot of times we just don't do that. We're so consumed in our days that we don't take the time to stop and smell the roses, as they say. We're not enjoying the moments as they're happening. We're too far worried about what happened in the past. And worried about what's going to happen tomorrow that we completely lose today. Okay, so really and truly, sometimes the romance is just your full attention. And we tend to be very stingy with our full attention. We don't even give ourselves full attention anymore. Most of the time, it's on our phone. It's on our laptop. It's there is a blur because there are so many people that are now working from home, or either they have side jobs or, side gigs, and they're using technology with the internet and digital things. And I'm guilty. I work a lot from home. I'm also a real estate agent, but I have multiple business endeavors. I'm a published author. I do a lot of different things. And I am frequently on my computer a lot. And it blurs the lines between my life and my work life. And I think a lot of us do that because, we are so relaxed with how we blend those lines. Now, there are a lot of people I know that always take a vacation. They are always going out to eat. They're always doing a lot of these things. They're always very active. And that is the flip of the coin, because you can also be very, very active like that and still not be paying each other any attention. So we have to be super careful with our relationships to make sure that we are giving some full attention to what we're actually doing. It's kind of like that, like when you sit down and you're concentrating on one thing, but you've got 20 tabs open on the computer, and you're flipping back into between the different ones, and sometimes you just get so consumed and lost in the whole process. And I'm speaking from absolute experience when it comes to this. Absolute experience. So, this is something I constantly have to try to do better. My husband and I are actively doing it now, just as we're working back through the Everyday Romantic book and the Recipes for a Romance book that we did, and all of that. It's a good time. We've been married for, quite a few years now, and it's a good time for us to reconnect just like you're reconnecting. And it does take a little attention to detail, but once you do it for a little while, then some of these things are going to come back. For instance, when we first started kind of working on all of this and kind of just decided we were going to pay a little bit more attention to one another, I noticed after several weeks, just the way we spoke to each other has changed. And that's when you're making a little bit of progress. It's when you say, thank you, or you say, you're welcome. Simple things. A lot of times when we get busy and we're doing laundry and we're doing cooking and we're doing all these things, somebody hands you something, you just take it. Not thank you. If you get up, to go to the kitchen and you are getting you something to drink, asking the other person, is there something I can get you while I'm up? It's just polite. And it shows that you love each other a little bit, that you care. So little things that don't cost anything can show you care. And in the same way, when somebody comes home, they're going to walk through that door, and if you can welcome them rather than just them coming in and you not looking up from what you're doing, you will find that these little expressions sprinkled through your days, sprinkled through your evenings, sprinkled, through a month, you're going to start seeing some changes, because the more you do, the more it's going to make them want to do for you. And that's not the reason to do it. We should never, we don't love to be necessarily loved back in the same way, but it sets the whole atmosphere, for a more loving relationship and a more enjoyable relationship. We're having a lot of fun, and I hope you are too. So, what could you do in just 5 minutes? You don't have to overthink it. Just get a pad and write down what you think you could do in 5 minutes to prep for a little engagement like this. Something that you can do for your special person. Romance just says, I thought of you. And the things are simple, the meaning is not. That is what makes them feel loved before they even walk through the door. You've already got it handled. Can't wait to see you. You can even, if both of you are working, if it's not something perishable, like you literally, if you leave after your spouse or your significant other before they go to work, if they go first, you can actually set this up during the day where it's just there waiting for them to come in, even if you're not going to be there. That's a surprise too. It could be anything. It could be going and, getting some of their favorite candy, and, putting a little bow on a box. This is low or no cost. So use things you already have or small things, that you can use. So the Date Your Spouse Again playbook by the Everyday Romantic is just a fantastic way for you to engage and reconnect. It has rendezvous. It has lots of little everyday things. It has how you can prep yourself so that you're primed and ready when a romantic opportunity presents itself. So you're not just shrugging it off and letting that romance bounce right off of you. So I hope you'll check it out. The link is down in the description. And I hope you'll definitely subscribe to the channel and that you will share it with all your friends so that they can also add a little romance into their lives. And until next time, may all your days and nights be filled with romance.